46 missed cuts in a row. A world number one lost to vertigo. A historic round of 92 shattering a former Open champion's confidence. Forever. 22 brutal golf moments that ended careers isn't just a list. It's the story of legends whose greatest achievements became the prelude to sudden collapse. Sometimes in a single swing, other times in front of millions. Some broke under the weight of expectation. Others were broken by the game itself. What does it really take to end a supposedly unstoppable career? And could it happen to anyone at the very top? The opening shots revealed just how close even the best come to the brink. Chip Beck stood on the 18th green at Sunrise Golf Club, October 1991, needing one more birdie to do the unthinkable. His putt dropped, sealing a 59, just the second ever recorded on the PGA Tour. 13 birdies, 0 bogeys, and a place in golf's record books. Beck's career had already soared. 4 PGA Tour wins, Ryder Cup heroics, and a runner-up finish at the Masters. For a moment, he looked unbreakable. But golf has a way of humbling even its brightest stars. By 1997, Beck was in freefall. Week after week, tournament after tournament, his name vanished from the weekend leaderboards. 46 consecutive missed cuts, nearly 2 full seasons without a paycheck. No injury, no scandal, just a slow-motion collapse, confidence draining away with every round. Eventually, Beck slipped quietly out of the spotlight, leaving the tour behind for a new life in insurance. His 59 remains legendary, but so does the streak that followed, etched in the minds of every player who's ever feared losing their game overnight. Johnny Miller knew that fear too. In 1973, he delivered a round for the ages, a 63 at Oakmont, to win the US Open, hitting all 18 greens, beating Jack Nicklaus, Tom Weiskopf, and Arnold Palmer. Over the next few years, Miller racked up 25 PGA Tour wins and led the money list twice. His ball striking was the envy of the tour. But then, in the mid-1970s, something invisible crept into his game. The yips, those sudden, uncontrollable spasms that turned simple putts into impossible tasks. Miller's putting deserted him. By the early 1980s, his days as a contender were over. He found a second act in the broadcast booth, but his story became a cautionary tale. Even the most gifted can lose their edge, not to injury or age, but to the mind's own tricks. Beck and Miller's falls weren't the result of a single moment, but a slow unraveling. Their peaks, Beck's 59, Miller's 63, stand as proof of what's possible. Their declines, a warning about how quickly it can all slip away. For every champion, the line between greatness and oblivion is thinner than anyone cares to admit. Number 20 brings us to Ian Baker-Finch, a name forever linked to both triumph and torment on golf's biggest stage. In 1991, Baker-Finch lifted the claret jug at Royal Birkdale, closing with a sparkling 66 and joining the ranks of Open champions. He reached as high as 16th in the world, respected for his smooth swing and calm demeanor. But just 6 years later, at Royal Troon, everything unraveled. On July 17, 1997, Baker-Finch teed off in the first round of the Open and posted a 92, one of the highest scores ever by a former champion. 11 bogeys, 3 doubles, a quadruple, and just 1 par. He withdrew immediately, fighting back tears, and never played another major. The collapse wasn't sudden either. Between his Open win and that day at Troon, Baker-Finch missed 32 of his last 35 major cuts, haunted by doubts and the relentless spotlight. He found new purpose as a CBS analyst, but his story became a touchstone for the mental toll of elite golf, a warning that the mind can be as unforgiving as any hazard. Now to Yani Tseng, whose rise was as meteoric as her fall. By 23, Tseng had captured 5 majors, an LPGA record, and spent 109 weeks as world number one. In 2011, she dominated with 7 wins, drawing comparisons to legends. But in 2012, the wheels came off. After 3 early victories, Tseng's game collapsed. 8 missed cuts in her final 14 events, confidence shattered, and the yips creeping in. The pressure was immense. Expectations from sponsors, fans, and a nation watching her every move. By 2013, Tseng had lost her LPGA status and faded from the top 250 in the world. She's still fighting for a comeback, but the shadow of burnout and scrutiny lingers. Tseng's struggle forced the LPGA to rethink support for young stars, launching new mental health and life balance programs. 2 careers, undone not by injury or scandal, but by the invisible weight of expectation. And in today's media era, that weight is heavier than ever. Careers at the top of golf rarely end with a single moment. More often, it is the slow accumulation of injuries that finally forces even the best to step away. Ken Venturi, who captured the 1964 US Open, was just 35 when carpal tunnel in both wrists made every shot agony. By 1967, his hands could no longer grip a club, and he retired. His prime stolen by a condition that today might be treatable with surgery and rehab. Venturi's next chapter unfolded in the broadcast booth, his steady voice a reminder of what the game had taken. Dottie Pepper's run on the LPGA Tour brought 17 titles and 2 majors, but years of playing through pain in her neck, shoulders, and back caught up with her. In July 2004, Pepper left competition mid-season, her body no longer able to keep pace. She became a respected analyst, her candor about injury helping shift the conversation for women's golf. Michelle Wie West was hailed as a prodigy, winning the US Women's Open in 2014. But chronic wrist arthritis, surgeries, and relentless rehab wore her down. By 2022, she announced a pause from full-time play to focus on family, her career shaped as much by injury as by talent. Wie West's openness about her struggles brought new attention to the pressures facing young athletes and the limits of even modern sports medicine. David Duval, once world number 1 and Open champion, saw his game unravel after 2001. Back and wrist injuries, compounded by vertigo, led to a rapid decline. He lost his tour card and never returned to his former heights, eventually joining the ranks of commentators, another career redirected by pain. Seve Ballesteros, with 5 majors and Ryder Cup heroics, fought through a decade of back pain before retiring in 2007. His foundation inspired future players, but his own body bore the cost of greatness. Today's tours travel with medical trailers and trainers, but for many legends, those advances arrive too late. Professional golf careers don't just end on the course. They can vanish in boardrooms, courtrooms, and under the watchful eye of an insurance adjuster. Anthony Kim's story is a modern golf riddle. By age 25, Kim had 3 PGA Tour wins, Ryder Cup stardom, and a reputation as the next American superstar. But in June 2012, a torn Achilles tendon forced him into surgery. Recovery dragged on. Rumors swirled about more surgeries, shoulder, hand, even his spine. Then, Kim disappeared. No tournament entries, no public appearances. For over a decade, he stayed away from professional golf, fueling speculation about a secret weapon off the course. A Lloyd's of London disability policy, reportedly worth up to $20 million. The terms were strict. Kim could not tee it up in any sanctioned event or risk voiding the payout. Insurers monitored his every move, requiring medical proof that he was physically unable to compete at a tour level. For years, he stayed silent, even as fans begged for a comeback. Only in 2024 did Kim reappear, joining LY5 Golf after a 12-year absence. The timing wasn't lost on anyone. His policy window had likely closed, or the terms had changed. The debate still rages. Did Kim protect his future, or walk away from greatness for a financial guarantee? Casey Martin faced a different battle, one fought in America's highest court. Born with Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome, Martin's right leg was so fragile he needed a cart to compete. The PGA Tour said no, citing tradition and the integrity of the game. Martin sued under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and in 2001, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in his favor. The justices found that using a cart gave Martin no competitive advantage, just a fighting chance. He played on, but the condition worsened. In 2021, doctors amputated his leg above the knee. Martin's playing career was over, but his legacy as Oregon's golf coach and an ADA pioneer remains. His case forced every sports league in America to rethink access and fairness. Proof that sometimes the biggest changes come not from a swing, but from a signature or a verdict. Integrity in golf isn't just a tradition, it's the backbone of the sport. But in recent years, the game's zero-tolerance stance on cheating has ended careers just as surely as injury or collapse. Take Justin Doden at the 2023 Ottawa Open. After finishing his round, Doden quietly changed a double bogey 7 to a par 5 on his scorecard. Tournament officials spotted the discrepancy almost immediately. When confronted, Doden confessed and withdrew from the event. The penalty? A 3-month suspension from PGA Tour Canada and a scarlet letter that doesn't fade. In golf, the stain of cheating is hard to wash away. Elliott Saltman faced a similar reckoning in 2011. During the Russian Challenge Cup, Saltman was accused of repeatedly failing to replace his ball in the exact same spot after marking it on the green, a violation reported by fellow competitors. The European Tour convened a tribunal, and after weighing witness testimony, handed Saltman a 3-month ban. He denied any intent, but the cheating label stuck. Saltman's tour status never recovered. and the incident now features in integrity seminars as a cautionary tale. Simon Dyson's case brought the issue to the highest levels of the European Tour. In the 2013 BMW Masters, Dyson tapped down a spike mark on his putting line, an act caught by TV cameras and flagged by viewers at home. Disqualified from the tournament, Dyson then faced a disciplinary panel. The result? A suspended 2-month ban and a hefty fine. The panel ruled it a momentary lapse rather than deliberate cheating, but the damage was done. Dyson's reputation never fully healed, and high-profile sponsors kept their distance. Each of these cases triggered swift investigations, formal hearings, and public statements from tour officials. The message was clear. No matter how minor the breach, the game would not tolerate any compromise on honesty. Today, digital scorecards and multi-level verification are standard, and integrity units operate with unprecedented transparency. In an era of instant replays and viral clips, the consequences for crossing the line are more public and more permanent than ever. Number 17 lands us in South Korea, where a single gesture changed the course of Biokim's career. On September 29, 2019, Kim was leading the DGB financial group Volvic Daegu Gyeongbuk Open, when a sudden noise from the gallery broke his concentration. In a flash of frustration, Kim turned and flipped off the fan, right in front of live television cameras. Within hours, the footage was everywhere. Sponsors distanced themselves. The Korean PGA convened an emergency hearing, and the verdict was swift. A 3-year suspension, later reduced to 1. But the damage was lasting. In South Korea, public disrespect carries a heavy price. Kim's reputation never fully recovered, and the incident became a cautionary tale about the cost of a moment's anger in a hyper-connected world. Contrast that with Lexi Thompson, whose departure from the LPGA Tour in May 2004 was shaped by exhaustion, not scandal. Thompson's career began at age 12, the youngest ever to qualify for an LPGA event. 11 tour wins and a major title followed, but so did years of scrutiny, heartbreak, and relentless pressure. After a string of near misses and the infamous 4-stroke penalty at the 2017 ANA Inspiration, delivered by email from a TV viewer, Thompson began to question the demands of a life spent in the spotlight. By 29, she had enough. In her own words, "It's time for me to step away and focus on family, mental health, and the next chapter." Her exit, in the prime of her career, sent shockwaves through the game, sparking debates about burnout and the cost of early stardom. Then there's Mike Reiser, whose career ended not with controversy or choice, but with a freak accident. In 1974, between rounds at the Tallahassee Open, Reiser went horseback riding and shattered his left shoulder. He returned to the course, arms strapped to his side, swinging one-handed just to post a score and preserve his tour exemption. The results? 123 and 114, the highest rounds in PGA Tour history, became infamous. Reiser never regained his form. The tour quietly changed its exemption rules soon after, ensuring no pro would ever have to make that choice again. 3 stories, 3 endings. One undone by a split-second gesture, one by the weight of expectation, one by sheer bad luck. Not every career-ending moment is a scandal or a tragedy. Sometimes, it's a silent goodbye, a broken bone, or a decision to put life ahead of legacy. Heather Farr's fight began at just 24, when doctors diagnosed her with aggressive breast cancer. A rising LPGA star, an Arizona sports icon, Farr chose to battle in public, inspiring players and fans with her grit through years of treatment. She died in 1993, only 28. But her story didn't end there. The LPGA created the Heather Farr Award, given each year to the player who best shows perseverance and courage. A legacy that turns heartbreak into hope. Erica Blasberg's promise was cut short even sooner. In 2010, the former #1 college player and LPGA rookie was found dead at 25. The coroner ruled suicide. Her passing rocked women's golf, raising urgent questions about mental health and support for young pros facing the pressures of life on tour. In the years since, the LPGA has increased mental health resources and suicide prevention awareness, making Blasberg's memory a call to action. Jarrett Lyle's journey was one of resilience and community. Diagnosed with leukemia as a teenager, Lyle made multiple comebacks to professional golf, but the disease returned in 2012. In July 2018, he stopped treatment. He died a month later at age 36. The challenge for Lyle and Yellow Ribbon campaigns rally players and fans, raising funds for cancer research and support. The PGA Tour's Courage Award and junior scholarships now bear his name, proof that even in loss, the golf world comes together to honor its bravest. The world of golf has lost legends, not just to time, but to the sky. Tony Lema, known as Champagne Tony for his charisma and Open Championship win in 1964, was still climbing when disaster struck. On July 24, 1966, Lema and his wife boarded a Beechcraft near Akron, Ohio. The weather was unforgiving, thick fog, low visibility. As the plane neared its destination, the engine sputtered. Investigators later found the cause: fuel miscalculation. The aircraft ran dry, crashing into a water hazard short of the runway. All on board were killed. Lema was just 32, his career and life cut short in a single night. 33 years later, Payne Stewart's name sent shockwaves through the sport for a different reason. Stewart had just captured his second U.S. Open in 1999, his trademark knickers and charisma making him a fan favorite. On October 25th, a Learjet carrying Stewart lost cabin pressure minutes after takeoff. Radio contact vanished. The plane, on autopilot, drifted for hours before running out of fuel and crashing in South Dakota. The NTSB found the crew never received oxygen in time. The tragedy exposed gaps in charter safety: no flight data recorder, questionable operator oversight, and lax emergency protocols for private flights. Both crashes forced the PGA Tour and aviation authorities to act. Mandatory charter vetting, stricter crew training, and expanded requirements for cockpit recorders soon followed. Today, the Payne Stewart Award honors sportsmanship, but the regulations born from these losses safeguard every player who boards a plane. For golf, the cost of change came far too high. Across 22 cases, the documentary has shown that a single moment, whether a 1999 Learjet crash, a career-ending injury, or a public scandal, can abruptly end even the most brilliant golf careers. FAA records confirm that Payne Stewart's death led to stricter charter flight regulations, while the LPGA's Heather Farr Award and PGA Tour's Courage Award honor athletes lost to illness. Court documents detail Anthony Kim's insurance saga and Casey Martin's ADA victory, revealing how legal and financial realities shape careers. Yet, not all answers are public. Disability policy terms and certain investigation files remain sealed. Golf's governing bodies have since strengthened safety, mental health, and integrity protocols, but the unpredictability of fate endures. The facts show that in golf, every triumph can turn in a single stroke or misstep. These stories, preserved in official archives and player records, are a stark reminder that greatness in golf is as fragile as it is celebrated.